We are reviewing the 2019 Tantive 4 Lego set, and the Tantive 4 is of course Princess Leia's Corellian Corvette. It is the first ever ship you see on screen in Star Wars being chased down by Darth Vader's Star Destroyer. And there have actually been 3 different Lego sets of Tantive 4. The first one came out in 2001. That was the UCS, the Ultimate Collector Series. And then another set in 2009. And finally, this baby, the 2019 Tantive 4. So this sucker is roughly 2 feet long. It has over 1,700 pieces. 21 pieces more than the UCS 2001 set. So in its own right, this 2019 set is pretty darn decent and it looks pretty good. We're just going to be focusing on 2 aspects. How fun is it to build with it, and how fun is it to play with it? So building with it was actually quite fun.
It's a trap!
The problem with these massive Star Wars Lego sets is that they're very symmetrical designs and they're basically ships or, vehicles. And the problem with that is you tend to do the same thing over and over again. I really felt like this when I was building the Lego Star Wars Snowspeeder. And that's just a bulky, massive set, and you're basically just doing the same thing over and over again. And to be fair, they could have fallen into the same trap with this thing. As you can see, it's quite symmetrical, and even just the engines alone, there are 9 engines here in this baby. But the designers have done a really good job of mixing things up, of having you assemble it, but not in a repetitive fashion. On the exterior, everything is symmetrical and all the colors match, but inside, especially on the engines, they make you put different colored bricks just to break up the monotony. Also here in the fuselage or in the body, the left side was slightly different from the right side. So there was a lot of effort put in to make sure that you don't get bored just doing the same thing, like, okay, I gotta do 9 of these. And there is a ton of detail on this thing. You'll notice the blue brick piece here, and then the detailing on the engine, the detailing here on the sides. It's really on the top, the swivel guns. Oh, that one swivels and this one does too, just a bit tighter. This is a big build and I'm struggling to hold it on camera, but there's nothing too tricky about it. If you're familiar with Lego technique, the pins and the rods and things like that, and there is some weird placement in some parts of the build, like you really have to, or I had to really inspect the instructions, like, does it want me to put it here or wherever? But given the size of the build, it's actually quite simple overall, and if you follow the instructions, you shouldn't have any problems. Any experienced Lego, and even someone of just moderate experience, will probably have no problems with this build. Which brings us to playability. Wow, I mean, look at this thing. You got here in the rear port, the bottom, or I think the dorsal portion of the ship, and these are the 2 escape pods on the side here. Gotta make sure I don't drop this thing on camera. That would be a YouTube video. These are the 2 escape pods, and they do detach. And of course, if you're a Star Wars fan, you know that these are the droids, R2-D2 and C-3PO. Take one of the escape pods down to the planet Tatooine, setting off the entire saga and setting off a franchise. But we will get to playability, and as you've noticed, I accidentally did it already on camera. Playability is a bit difficult because there's a lot of detail that can easily snap off, like this fin that snapped off while I was recording. Not snapped off in the sense like it's catastrophic, but in the sense that if you roughhouse a little bit, there will be a lot of parts that you might end up, accidentally jettisoning from your ship, and maybe you can pretend it's battle damage or things like that. And on the rear of the ship, there's not much place to hold it. I mean, my left hand is constantly having to look for a good place to support the ship. But the great thing about this build, which really adds to the playability, is this handle. And it's amazing that they were able to integrate it into the design itself. This is actually the radar dish on the Tantive 4, but it's a very sturdy handle, and as you can see, you can fully support the ship by just holding it via the handle, and you can even make it kind of bank, and you can raise it and things like that. And you'd be surprised. I mean, oh shoot, oh, there goes one fin. But I was really surprised when this handle thing here. I was reading online that there's a handle, and I'm like, I was building it, I was assembling it. You notice it's just this kind of technique, one of the technique Lego pieces, and another long bar here. As I was assembling it, I'm like, no way is this thing going to support the full weight of the Tantive 4, but it does it really well. And so this handle alone really adds to the playability of the set. And well, you have these kind of things that, of course, the rotating guns and things like that, and these kind of actually pop out, and the dorsal side as well. You have the gun turrets. So the handle really adds to the playability. Oop, I have lost another fin. Just take that off. I'll put it back later. But basically, my only just one last on the playability of the set. I find the way the roofs or the hull is fastened really kind of flimsy. And I understand that's how Lego does it now. They want you to be able to immediately remove the roof so you can check out the interior inside and play around here. The front also opens to reveal the cockpit. And let me take that off there. See, there you go, the cockpit. But for me, and again, this is just a personal opinion, the roof seems so flimsy, and if again you're playing with it in very rough or haphazard fashion, that thing is just gonna come right off. And I wish they had made it a bit sturdier or fastened it a bit better. Basically, the only thing holding the roof here are these two pins, or the two connectors here, and then one connector here. That's the only thing fastening that entire portion or the main cabin of this set. And again, I know that's the standard way of doing things now, making the roof detachable, but personally for me, it's a bit too detachable, and under extreme G maneuvers, that thing's gonna fly right off, or it's gonna get tractored off by the Star Destroyer. And while there are a lot of amazing detail here, they do tend to, especially like here in the escape pod, a lot of detail, but again, especially these things have snapped off sometimes just by accident, or I wasn't paying attention too well. So a lot of detail, but that detracts from the playability, because there are a lot of things that could fly off without you knowing or without you intending for them to fly off. And my last knock on the build is, if you can see here at the bottom side, I wish they had put landing, basically I wish they had put landing gear, so that when you display it, instead of it just resting on the bulbous head here, like they could have added landing strips or landing gear so that it displays a bit better. But that's for me, that's just nitpicking. And overall, I had a lot of fun building this thing, and it's a lot of fun to kind of swoosh it around carefully. And at 2 feet long, size matters. It is a very impressive build. And to be honest, I remember when the 2001 set came out, and I was like, I really want to buy this, but it's expensive. And so I didn't buy the 2001 set, and I regretted it for the rest of my life. And then when they came out with this 2019 set, the latest Tantive 4, my friend was like, oh, it's the Tantive 4 set that you're always going on about. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. But then I saw the price, and I was like, $200, and I really need this thing in my life. And so I wasn't gonna buy it again. But then when I saw this in the shop, they had one pre-assembled. When I saw it, I'm like, gosh darn it, look at this thing. This is a massive ship. It's amazing looking. And so I'm like, the heck with it, I'm gonna buy it. So I got it, I assembled it, and I have not regretted it. It is a very nice build, even by the high standards of the Lego Star Wars series.